Hello, Color Me Happy community and podcast friends. This is your host, Brandy Hofer. Thank you so much for being here today. I sure do appreciate it. The countdown is on. The countdown is on to New York. I leave in 4 days. I'm so excited and nervous and I don't want to think about leaving, my whole family 5 days isn't a long time, but it's the first time I've left Teddy, and it's hard. It's tough, because that, Teddy's going to struggle a little bit. I still am his little safe haven at night, so I'm a bit, I don't like to think about that part. But what I do like to think about is the food in New York and all the friends I get to see. And we have to take care of ourselves. And if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. So this trip is for me, and I'm doing it. And I think that is okay. And we should all, guilt is a normal emotion. And missing people is a normal thing to feel. So, we'll all get over it. They will make it. But yeah, I'm super jazzed to do that. And speaking of burnt out, and I've told this story several times over the year where I made over 130 original pieces of artwork, and I was like, my well was empty and far beyond. It still hasn't filled. And this September, so sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So burnout to then, I decided to diversify my practice. And by that, it meant I didn't want to paint or draw anymore for a little bit. And I decided to try a whole bunch of things. And the person we have on today says this all the time. It's a pretty common saying, but she's known for saying it. Throw a bunch of spaghetti at a wall and see what sticks. And I totally did just that. I tried prints on Amazon. And that didn't work, by the way. Well, one thing you can count on is I will be honest with you. That didn't work because Amazon is a challenge, and it was a lot of time and effort. And it does work. It works for my friend who they sell 500 prints a week or something crazy. Like it works for some people, and it can work, and it might work for you, but it didn't work for me because I have high-end artist price prints and prints on there's big print companies that caught on in the midst of me doing this, and then they were selling 3 prints for $15.99, and that I could not compete with, obviously. And so anyway, I decided to start this podcast and write a book and start a community, and not necessarily are those things that pay you a whole bunch. Because they don't. They will eventually if I stick to it, right? I get advertisers on my podcast. I have started into education and mentorship and exploring that. And once my book is out, that will be passive, sustainable income. My classes are really great income. And that's what worked for me. So I actually was really inspired by this conversation, and I'm inspired by Shannon overall because I've been in her mastermind groups. I've met with her one-on-one. She was on this podcast. And we talk a lot in messages because she's a Canadian artist, but she's based out of Finland, which is super cool. And that's how we kind of met. And so Shannon has guided me in more ways than one, and she is so amazing. So this inspired me to actually make a workbook, speaking all about that is diversifying your income. And so that was all, so many years ago of burnout, and it inspired change. And so I put it all into words for you. You're welcome. So it's available. I'm sending it in our newsletter. If you haven't subscribed to our newsletter, you can do so at brandyhofer.ca. And you can find it on our website too. So check that out. I'll have it in the notes. You can go there or sign up for a newsletter. And and have fun listening to this really useful, and you'll squeeze a lot out of it, this episode with Shannon, and she's so great. She's also a mentor. She does so many things, and she's so amazing, and she's so well spoken, and I look up to her in so many ways. She's got it pretty figured out. She might laugh when she listens to this. Sorry, Shannon. But not sorry. You're amazing. So enjoy this episode. My kids are home, so I gotta go. Welcome, Shannon. Thank you so much for being here. So we're longtime friends, but we've never met in person, which I feel like is a common denominator in this show. But I don't actually know how you found me or why you invited me to your mastermind group. And
I think it's because we were both Alberta-based artists originally, so we were somehow connected that way, perhaps. And then I moved to Finland.
Oh yeah, but it was a pretty random, like, come join our group.
Yeah,
right?
I think
like it was.
When I was piloting,
we talked a little, maybe.
What's that?
We had messaged a little.
I think so. That was like maybe 2.5 years ago that I wanted to pilot the first big group mastermind for professional artists. And I think I kind of sort of went through my Instagram chats and Facebook and feeds, and I looked at some people I talked with who, one, were full-time professional artists, identified female, and were motivated to grow their business in a collaborative, kind, and safe, caring manner. So not tearing each other down, but building each other up. And everybody I invited, I had some sort of positive previous interactions that gave me a sense they would be perhaps interested in doing that. So we were on that list.
Oh, great.
And got an invite.
Kindness is up there on my answer everyone, be super kind, and you can make new friends. That's the aim. I will make new friends. No, it is great, and I like social media for that reason specifically, because we wouldn't have met otherwise, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think that, and for me personally, at the time during when COVID was starting, and then I was in a new country where I didn't know anybody and I didn't speak the language. Yet I was at a time in my business where I was ready to facilitate this big group project. It needed to be to my internet friends.
Yeah. And so that when did you decide? When did you transition from I really want to step into, the art world even more?
So I think I've been a practicing artist for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've always mixed that back and forth, oscillating between sort of education and having studio-based art. So I've always had an education component, teaching in schools, colleges, and universities, and things like that. And at different points, I've stepped away from the academics and done full-time art, but then I've come back to it. I love both.
And that's okay.
Yeah. And
that's
I think
totally allowed.
It's the artist mentorship education part that I like. So then in 2019, we had this opportunity to come to Finland as a family. And so I took a sabbatical from my art education teaching position. And I thought, here we go again. We're going full time, and this time forever. And so I don't know what that's 3 years now, back at it full time again. And now slowly bringing in education components, but to my own business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, because in our groups you shared and it was really great. It was a great learning process, and you clearly had an education background because you had charts and things. And I'm just I would have drawn that with a crayon, and you had flow things, and I was this woman is serious. And which was great because it was such a learning experience for me and so useful. And I loved your artist pie. Do you have that anywhere where people can see it? Because I think it's an actual very useful tool for like any artist to see, like, how
about this?
Like, typically an income doesn't just come from like selling a painting. That's not the big part. Like, I mean, some artists do, so good for them. But like, a lot of those artists I know have like a gallery and a team and a thing, and that's where that artwork sale pie piece grows. But I loved seeing your pie because there was like mentorship and mural and whatever had a piece, and it's just so great to see the reality of a multifaceted creative and what it actually looks like, because I think people get into it and they misinterpret our lifestyle and our day to day.
Yeah, like we just paint all day and people have
La, la, la.
that's how
heads and magic happens all day.
I have forgotten about that because that's in my teaching charts and graphs. You're right. How about this?
I couldn't even think of the right word. I was like, flow thing.
How about I look for that graphic? I'll go back and in the next few days I'll post it in my stories or something like that.
Yeah, cool.
I'll take a look for it. I'll make a note of that. Gotta find it.
Yeah, I can always include it too when I share it in the Color Me Happy community. I think that'd be a great message, and for all creatives is like the realities of a working multifaceted artist and creative educator, and I don't think so many things happen because there's food in my hair. We met. Yeah. So many things happen. Like, you open my mind to so much more possibility and how it all worked, and to not have to a more open-mindedness and not have these walls up of those stereotypes that block you from either being an educator or going into this and that. And you're like, I can't do that because I won't be taken seriously as an artist. And it's such a snobby, terrible mindset.
Yeah, I think it's so good for us to try different things on. And we need to find that balance of like, what is generating income to sustain the business, but the things that we like to do and we enjoy doing. And sometimes you have to try different things on to see. But my goal in working with artists, mentorship programs and stuff is like, how do we build sustainable businesses? Because I don't know about you and with your kids, but I can only paint so much. Like, I don't know how many paintings I can make.
You said that to me in one of our meetings. And I was coming off the year of doing 130 originals because they were all, most of them were custom, like probably 90 of them were custom, right? So you were like, Brandy, is that sustainable? And I just kind of was like, is it? No, it's terrible. It's exhausting. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, it's too much. And so finding that balance of like, and for some people, there are some artists out there who do 200 paintings a year, and that's their sole income, and they have the time and they enjoy it.
Most likely don't have 3 kids.
But they most likely don't have 3 kids, dogs, all these things. Yeah. But so yeah, finding what's sustainable, like it's that balance of what's sustainable, what you enjoy, and are you making the income that you need and desire or whatnot. So I call it diversified income streams, right? Having all of these multifacets and figuring out the ones you like. And I find each year, I don't know if this is for you too, but each year as my business grows, I have more income that becomes rather passive and sustainable. So I have just different facets of my business that like I don't worry about anymore. And they're just like, I had to do a lot of upfront work. And now it's just like deposits in my bank account, and it makes me smile.
Yeah, no, every time that does happen, I told someone, I was like, I love emails. She's like, I hate emails. Those are bills and things. I was like, I love them because it means I sold something.
Yeah.
And usually, it's one of those passive sources. Like, and can you talk about what some of those things are for our audience? Like, I know my own, but what are, because you're a very strong mentor. So what are some main things that you are? So what are some main things that would for creatives, like,
Okay.
workbook or apparel or prints, like which are the
You
main
know, I would have to, in the mastermind programs, we brainstormed like a huge spreadsheet worth of things. So people have to find out what works for them. Okay, so this is just me personally. But for me personally, I work with a gallery in Berlin called Kunst 100. And I was just very fortunate to be one of their first artists in their first year of their startup. Um, and they wanted to make art accessible to a larger crowd. So to have sort of high fine art, but make it more accessible. And so originally, I think all the works were under 100 euros. They're not anymore. But how they did it was they do limited edition prints. And what's great for me is it keeps me in the Europe market. They do all the printing, all the framing, and all of the shipping. And
Yeah.
it's a website. And through them, I've had such incredible opportunities where they do pop-up galleries all around Germany and other places in Europe where they just have pop-up shows and decide to include your work, which is great. And then recently my work got selected where in the center of Berlin, the local, I don't know if we have this in Canada, but in Europe, they have something called H&M Home. Do we have that? We don't have that, right?
When you say H&M, I'm thinking of the store
Cool.
H&M. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway,
Don't
like had like an anthropology-ishy kind of home goods shop.
Oh, cool.
And because they're this sort of big, international brand of clothes, they are trying to kind of do a little bit like what Lululemon has done over the past 10 years, where they're trying to work local and bring in local people to their local centers. And so this now one branch in Berlin wanted to partner with a local gallery where they're selling originals and works of artists that are local to that. So they kind of have like a whole gallery wall set up. And I mean, huge opportunity that I never would have even expected just from partnering with this print gallery. And so they sell my prints and they enter my work into shows and take it to galleries and exhibitions and fairs.
And that's an ideal gallery partnership for any artist, right? Like that's what you dream about. You're like, good partnerships, but those come along and they don't. Like they really,
You have to be judicious. And you have to not be afraid to say, drop some other things that aren't working. Like I know there's a lot of people who are selling on, and maybe it works for them when you're starting out. Some people are selling on, I can't think of the names right now, some of these different print sites like Redbubble and things like that. There's another one in the US. I can't think of what it's called. But I know some Canadians, when they work out all the money in it, in the end, for them, it turns out to be a wash. They're not actually making money. And then when you're a working artist, we don't work for exposure. that doesn't build a business.
You have to pay for food like everyone else does.
Yeah. Anyhow,
so there are a lot of options though, and it is just like finding what best fits for you and what works. And you're right, it's letting go of what doesn't work.
Yeah, and being able to, it's like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks and trying new things on. And I'm trying new things on. Like I never stop putting my name in the hat for new things and putting in new applications for different things and seeing how it goes, right? Like right now I have some applications pending where I'm putting in for a government, like they're doing an inclusivity like campaign for diversity. And so they want to make these like little commentary cards that they're going to distribute throughout schools and like public centers, that they would like artists who are from away to do the art for the background. So, putting my name in the hat for like one of those things. I have another big application in for doing some mural and sculpture installation projects at the new psychiatric ward at a hospital, local hospital being built. I have works in the Canmore Hospital back home. I have works in different galleries around Canada, artist mentorship programs, all over the place.
I know. It's the worst question when someone's like, so what are you up to? And you're like, I'm not even sure where to start. I don't even know how I can come up with a quick answer. And you don't
Uh,
want to say, oh, I'm just really busy, because you are. And then you're like,
yeah.
there's no short answer for this, because we are kind of, some things don't work out, and that's okay. And it does suck, but like they just weren't meant to. But definitely, like you said, you throw your name in the hat. You throw your name in the hat, and what is meant to be and what will work out will.
Way more don't work out, right? We all know that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I know I have this opportunity to go to New York, and I'm like, and then I looked and I was like, New York it's like on my list, right? I've been there, but since I was a student, and then the reality of going to New York was like 15 hours and then be in New York for like 24 and then leave for 15 more. And I was like, oh, but I really should, but sounds terrible, but I really want to go see women that I've been in contact with for years and years, and I've never been to an art fair, and I've never. So yeah, but I also know myself, I'm such a baby when it comes to traveling.
But how great is that, right? Like, you and you know yourself, you know what, like, you know what your dreams are, and maybe how you see yourself. You also know who you are, what works for you. And I think like that's really important to know who you are and where you stand and what works for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep thinking about it. My art 1000% will go.
Yeah. Okay.
But
so group show situation going on there then, so it can travel alone, unaccompanied minors.
Yeah.
The art.
Yeah. Which I also have never done, and is a scary step, right? You're like, how do you do that? It's so, we're like, oh, I hope to be in an art fair, or I hope to go. And then the reality of it all is like, or when you're doing a big mural project, you're like, oh, I so badly want this. And it's 3,000 square feet. And then you're like, but the reality of physically pulling that off, that's going to be,
and hard on your body.
Oh, murals are extremely, extremely hard on physically on your body. And yeah, they take all of you for that blip of time. But I just, and I probably won't, I have to edit it still, but I just did a course all about murals and how they can change your whole art practice. But,
cool.
But the total reality behind it, like the contracts and everything that, goes along with it. So, but
cool.
You know me, I like to be all the way honest. So, so I want to cut it myself, because I want to leave in those like parts where I am telling the whole truth, and that's so important. So, which is another great way of passive income is, recording and cutting courses and classes is a lot of work, but a great passive income for later, right? And then there's big host sites that host things like that.
Sure, you mean like something like Skillshare or something, or Teachable, Kajabi, where you host yourselves. Yeah, I definitely think that doing Skillshare and things like that is a great place for people to start and maybe gain a different audience, and then eventually launching through your own site. I have learned something over the years that I think about, like online education and courses, and I do think it's quite important for your first course, whatever your first one is, to do your first one live. I think there's big value in that, just for learning and lifetime feedback and working with your students.
You can't just dive into, you can't just cold go into talking to a camera, because it's just not going to work.
I think you'll have a higher success rate if you do your first one live and you make yourself available and feedback, and just figure it out. And I mean, like you say, I just be honest with everybody. Be like, hey, like you could offer a discount, be like, this is my first time doing it. You could do it for free, or you could offer it at a big discount and just say, I'm looking for you to give me feedback. And use those people.
I went into it, and like some of them don't work. Like some, no matter how great and how beautiful it is, it just isn't like, it doesn't catch in the market. Like there's also that, like you could also do it and it could not work. And I've had that happen. But then I did one specifically about portraiture, which people really link to my, whole brand. You could, like, my whole business, right? Like people, and that was great to fill in for. Instead of custom artwork, I'm going to show you how to do it. So I don't have to do it anymore.
Yeah, that's also
but it took all that like, because it took that mindset shift as like, I want to do this. I want to be the only one who does it in this style and whatever. And no one's is going to look like mine. But it took exhaustion and burnout to come to the point where like, I'm okay with sharing my process.
Yeah. And I think it's so great because that's what's so helpful for people. And it's, you have to be courageous and make yourself so vulnerable. But it's in that sharing that people connect to you and what you have to say. And I don't know about you, but like I've taken tons and tons of online courses. I've taken them all, the big ones, the small ones, the hidden ones. And every time I watch them, I'm like, well, one, I generally love all of them. I haven't taken many that I didn't like. I find something filling in each of them and look for miracle moments that I can take home to my practice or to my business. But I also realize that I overthink all my own courses and that it doesn't need to be so big and so wild, and that
No.
all small chunks is so enjoyable, and people then have more opportunity for their own subjective interpretation of how they want to apply it to their own scenarios. And so I always have to remind myself, I'm like, look at this course. This is a great course. I'm enjoying this course. I can also make my courses simple.
Yeah, no, and you can bring your own personality and your own, quirkiness and voice, and it's really fun. Obviously, yeah, a lot when it comes to video and editing and audio and all that great stuff that people also don't think about, but it's really neat. And I'm doing sketchbook cues right now in my community, and I haven't done a sketchbook since art school, so like that was 2004.
Okay.
So it's almost, yeah. So I'm so bad at it, but I'm going to share it. Like I'm very, well, not bad, but I've been working in a certain way.
You got to make a lot of ugly art, and the sketchbook is where the aha moments arise. So
yeah. So I'm like, I think it's important and valuable that I share that I am very terrible at some things.
Can I draw a bear? No, I'm going to trace it in the window and done.
Yeah.
Why not?
Can I pull off a flower live in 10 minutes while my kids are playing in the sandbox on the steps? Not really. No, it is. It's really fun. And I hope people like come along and feel that way. Hello. Okay. So
just for a minute.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, look at that hair.
She learned to open doors just tall enough a few days ago. So now she can break in the studio. Let's get your key shoe. Okay, let's go. We're going to go outside, do the laundry.
Oh, that sounds fun. So let's talk about that. You recently became a new parent.
Yeah, 14 months ago.
Yeah.
How does that happen? Yeah, and I think you remember when I was pregnant, I was pretty realistic about what my time would be like after I had the baby, and so I had a lot of things. I was pre-planning things and setting things up and to have more passive income streams and stuff. But magically, since I've had a baby, I actually have had one of my most successful and productive years yet. So I don't know if it's I'm using the small amounts of time more efficiently, or if it's the work I put into building the foundation of my business. I do know, I shouldn't say I don't know, I do know, but it's a constellation of things that baby always comes first. So that's always my priority. So art things obviously have to wait and get dropped, but I take
maybe it was like you know how they say you're holding on to something too tight and you're trying to control every outcome, but you are forced to let go.
Absolutely. I would fit into that too. Just care a little bit less about everything. And I'm only taking commissions one at a time right now. So I'm very guarded and protected about my commission spots. I've limited them significantly. And
high five.
Wow.
Big time.
Happy about that. So I only work on larger size commissions now. And 2, I increased my prices because that's how it is. I think it's also a natural progression in the business. And I just guard the time because the work that I do, I want it to be of the highest quality and value and connection to the people I'm doing it for. So I don't want to be overloaded when I know my time is limited. So yeah, I've learned to do that dance in balance. And instead of running big group artist mentorship masterminds this past year, I've just been doing one-on-one artist mentorships and consultations. And that's been really nice. So it's most students who have come along with me from before baby until now, who I see, often on a monthly basis. And I just didn't add any more to the roster. And but now baby's 14 months old. There's more time, more flexibility. And so I'm sort of gearing up to do another big artist group mentorship program again. And like you say, part of me is holding on really tight to all these fine details that it has to be so perfect. And then my partner continues to remind me that I've run these many times before and that I have.
You're like over organized. I have no doubt that'll be amazing.
And the other thing about like these mentorship like mastermind groups is that it's not about like me giving information, right? I just facilitate it. It's about all of us sharing and learning from each other, and that
it's the connection, and it's the group, and it's the organic advice.
And I learned so much, and we all learned so much, and it's really it's such a place of like warmth in my heart where everybody grows and I grow alongside each other. So for the first year of baby, I couldn't even imagine having run one of these, and now I'm getting tingly and excited to be gearing up to launch another one. But yeah, things look different, of course, in studio time, and that's okay. I wouldn't trade it for anything because everything just seems to be continuing on. I don't know how I get it done, but I somehow get it done.
I feel like time management really changes and shifts as a parent because you don't have time to fuck around anymore.
Oh, maybe that's what I was doing before, but now it's like really focused. And right down to little things, like when I have a big commission going on now, before I'd have all my carts and all my paints, everything all over the place. Studio is a big blast of a mess. And now I'm doing like pre-approved custom palettes, and then I pre-mix the custom colors, and then I have them in the buckets with the canvas. And it's like I don't have other things around. I usually work in collections and series of things of 8 or 10 or 15 pieces. No, I'm working on this commission, on this palette, and I just keep my mess set up. So all I have to do to come and go is rinse brushes, so I can pop in for 15 minutes and pop out. Not colors. I'm not screwing around with it. So I'm having to work in ways that I never did before, but yet it's I don't know, it's making me work more efficiently and better. And
yeah, you streamline the efficiency. Yeah. And I remember I was gridding every portrait, and like, I just remember that time, and I was just like, this is taking way too long. I have to figure out a different way to get this down accurately, but like just as quality as a, piece. So I did figure it out. It is still a secret, but not in my course. I called it a portrait class because I didn't want to call it a course because I wanted it to be accessible for artists, but I also wanted it to be accessible for young people because I've been doing it with young people, like 10, 12, 16, and it's so empowering for them. I was volunteering to practice. So I was doing a bunch of volunteering because I got the opportunity to start an art academy in our public school system. So I was practicing. I was like, I've never worked with teens. I hear it's not a walk in the park exactly, but so it is fine. And the teacher who will be facilitating with me, he's like, these kids signed up to be here, so it's going to be very different.
I would do that too.
Mm-hmm. So the applications were beautiful. Like, I immigrated here and I haven't found a place that fits, and I'm looking to find friends, and I love art, and we're just all like weeping.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear more about that. And I think I totally agree with you about you want to build scaffolding for kids so that they can see success in their art and they're proud of it and they're happy for it. And I know in working with teenagers, I've taught how to grid out drawings and do photorealistic drawings, and they like it, but it takes a lot of stamina and cardio to get through that kind of work with young people. And so it's okay to use carbon paper or the window or deli paper or parchment or collage or photo transfers, or it doesn't matter how you get
exactly. I think it's really because it just like gives that first little bit of like, oh, I can do this, like that connection and that spark of like the confidence to move forward and then go into the hard stuff. And when did you go to art school? Did you do any training or so when we were there, it's like, let's do all the hard stuff first.
Yeah, absolutely. First year drawing classes. Oh, brutal.
Which, I mean, made us who we are, but.
Yeah, and I have like my terrible art school story like everybody, but I can remember like a lot of my classmates had a lot of privilege and funding, and they just could lounge around the studio all day. And I was working like 8 hours a day at a job where I started at like 5 a.m. or something like that to like make enough money to like live in Toronto and pay for tuition and all these things.
Toronto would be uber expensive to.
I didn't have as much time, and I remember my drawing, and the teacher put it on the wall. And I was like, oh, me, critique day. I was like, And she's like, this is an example of a poorly rendered drawing.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The world I'm never going to be a part of, because I'm not into critiques. I'm not into breaking people down. And I'm not about making a spectacle of what people's weaknesses are. Like, jeepers, just so you all know, I do know how to draw and I figured it out, but that was more about time on tools and comparative contrast to others and an expectation that things should look a certain way. And oh my goodness,
it was and it was around the same time attended, and it was a terrible mindset and not and I'm all for kindness and inclusion and lifting people up and empowering them. But that was not the way it was.
No,
it was like competing, and art is not a competition. Like it really isn't. So
there's room for everybody and everybody's work and everybody's style. Oh, there's just all of us, and working and collaborating together.
So look at us. We're in the right roles where we can influence others and show them a better way and a more, we're going to change the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something. I know what I wanted to talk about, especially with your audience as well, is I think I told you about this, but I just recently came back from doing another artist residency, which was a family residency.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up when we talked about you having your baby, and that was so cool that you went to. Was that a different one from another one from? You were in one last June, right, or July?
Same one again. I got invited to come back again, which I couldn't even believe it because it's so few people who get to go. So I was really honored and privileged to go back. And while I was there in Fiskars, the town of Fiskars, where the scissors and the axes come from, they were having their biannual art event, and since post-Corona time. So I got to be involved in this big village exhibition and stuff as well. And I wonder if maybe some people, I hear from people in my own artist community saying to me, oh, Shannon, I'd love to do an artist residency, but I can't leave my kids.
How, it's such a stretch of time.
Right. but you can do 1 week ones. You can do ones. And for the one we did, it was only 1 week. And you can bring your partners, your children, and you can bring your pets. And it was a cottage on water. So yeah. So I mean, that's pretty cool. I've also found some others. I'm currently putting together a guide of family-friendly artist residencies. And I found ones where they also have like, they make all the meals for you. So you don't have to worry about cooking, so you can make art. They also have childcare and like games and stuff for the kids. So you don't have to worry about that stuff. And
Sign me up.
Right? And you'd still have to travel. You'd have to get on an airplane still, but you could do it. But I just thought, I sort of wanted to share with people that if you poke around, there's artist residencies for all shapes and sizes, and it's absolutely worth it to apply because there's ones out there for parents and pets, which I also think is great.
Well, let me know when you have your guide, and we will put it in the community, and we will share it. That's so great. Of course, I would love to see it too, because, well, I haven't done the residency since like 2012, because I had we're forced to be. We're going on a holiday, and I'm like, do I want to? I don't know. They're so like it's an unrealistic expectation to think that they will be quiet or stop moving, and to like go anywhere is just like, we are a force. We are a loud, active, disturbing, like it's just, and in a hotel or any sort of setting such as that, even if it's in an active community in a mountain and hiking, it's like, but there's still the room with the people around us.
I know.
And they're up at 6:30 a.m.
Yeah.
And you don't get out the door till 9:30. That's like some time where they're bouncing off the walls. So it's like, it is, you have to think of the realities of a family life. And I'd say you're in like the honeymoon stage of, one child of just, it is. And then the one parent can take the one child and the other parent can have, a break, which is amazing. But, and then you have two and you're like, this is great too. And one parent can handle two. And then three is like, holy fucking shit. What were we thinking? Like, what?
Hands. You don't have enough hands proportional to
this is absolute chaos. It really is. Like, it really. But I love it. It's fun. Because I would work all day. I love what I do, and I would work all the time. And I'm sure you understand that calling. And so I like that they make me take, like, balancing parenthood makes me take breaks and makes me get outside and makes me, just like come out of my mind bubble for a second.
Oh my gosh. I agree with that so much, even down to little things like, right now in the recent years, I'm working primarily in abstracts. Sometimes I mix portraiture and abstracts, but anyhow, and the biggest challenge is like, don't overwork the painting, Shannon. But when you have a little baby that needs you every few minutes, it forces you to just leave it, let it dry. The painting has a little nap, and then you can come back and revisit it. And I find like my work is getting stronger and stronger as a result of me not overworking the paintings. Now, it can go the other way where you're like, I have 15 minutes. Can I do it all in 15 minutes? But I agree. Somebody brings me, I mean, I never say no to play or somebody bringing me a book or to ever. And taking those moments and having to step away from the work, I find only making it stronger.
Yeah, it's great. It's wonderful. It's good for you.
Yeah.
It really is. It's a fun journey. So what do you have? Do you have anything big coming up that you want to talk about?
Coming up. So what is coming up? Well, we are going to be coming to Canada for 7 weeks. So we're really looking forward to that. And I'm going to be setting up a studio kind of have a studio set up in Canada on my family's farm and whatnot. So I'm hoping that when I'm actually on the farm with all my family around, that I would get enough time to put an entire new collection together. That's my hope.
Yeah.
So, exciting?
I think that's a realistic expectation for 7 weeks.
And I haven't made a collection or a body of work since before my daughter was born. So that's exciting. And then, just like I've been mentioning, I am going to start opening up application period towards the end of the summer to join my new artist mentorship mastermind group. And I'm not.
I would highly recommend to anyone.
Thank you. And so I'm trying to think of when that's going to open. It might actually open while I'm in Canada. So I'm thinking maybe September. I don't know if it's like the educator in me or if it's like having kids, but like for me, the fiscal year works from September to June. You know, January to January is just for like taxes.
Yeah.
Like new beginnings, like New Year's resolutions and new starts for me, that's September.
Yeah. That makes sense. The routine of it all.
Yeah. I feel like Labor Day weekend comes around and I'm like, and now we can begin. So it's a nice time for a fresh start. And yeah, I just really want to get together a group for emerging and mid-career artists who are looking to grow collaboratively their practices, so technical stuff, and their businesses, where we can share all components about increasing income, branding, marketing, different income streams, working together, partnerships, working with designers, all these things that you've experienced as well before. But
yeah,
so I'm looking forward to launching that. And right now for the summer, I've just got some local art fairs coming up that I'm excited about that we have here, which is pretty cool. And right now, I think I have like 6 different applications into all kinds of different projects, and I'm waiting to hear back. I'm also hoping I'm not awarded too many of them.
Yeah.
Because
that's also, I mean, with the amount of no's one gets in the art world, though, it's safe to just do a whole bunch, right?
So that's kind of
myself have, and don't feel bad. Like, don't let this make anyone feel bad. If you don't have time or the resources to like apply,
yeah.
That's okay. Like, I'm at a season right now where I'm doing book audio recording and book editing and starting the art academy. Like, I have not applied to one thing at all because I can't. Like, the only thing I've been keeping up is relationships with other creatives and, you know, galleries and stuff. But like, I have not applied. I just can't imagine. And then I have a big project locally next summer that I'm working on and have meetings about. So like, Shannon's season right now is like, you know, different. Everyone's season is different. So you don't have to apply if you're not in that. Like, I've had years where I did apply to 20 galleries and, you know, and or shows and or calls for art. It's for what is useful for you in the moment and what is applicable to your practice, I guess, right?
I just agree with you so much. There's just seasons, and just as you say, and they seem to naturally evolve too, and they also help you to not get fixated on one thing. But at the end of the day, obviously grants are different things. They have their annual deadline, so if you want them, you know, plug that in your calendar and prepare, have that ready.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so garbage at them, like applications, that I totally avoid it.
They're hard for me too, and I want to get better. And I'm kind of like, can I outsource this, or should I take a course and get better at it? But then I get awarded some of them, and then I think, okay, maybe I'm not so bad at it.
I don't think you're bad at it if you get awarded them. They're very highly competitive. So you must be good at it. You can outsource grant applications. I know with some local projects too, if you're doing anything with your community that people in like the municipalities and stuff will help you, and they do have experience with grant writing. So if you're doing anything that can educate or benefit your community, or you have any ideas like that, you have to have those partnerships and apply together. So
like, is your Arts Academy going to be on an Alberta Arts Foundation grant, Alberta Arts grant?
To be honest, so I helped with some of the Saskatchewan ones, the applications, but
Right. It's going to be on
we're actually both.
I know.
Both, but there were so many rules, and I didn't apply like fully myself because it's through the school system. There's so many rules that like we did apply to one, but for some reason they missed, like, I'm not a Saskatchewan-based artist, but it's a Saskatchewan-based curriculum. So they could apply if I had been, like, there's so many rules. I'm not sure what they got for the Alberta one, but we can talk about
I think
after.
That's cool that there was support there, and it's so great that the program's going to take off. That's sort of what the most important thing is.
It's just a start. Yeah, it's just the beginning. So I'm sure we'll learn a lot along the way. And yeah, so it's no matter what, the roots of the program and the fact that it's beginning, that is the best part, especially in a place where I grew up. Like, I didn't have that safe space and that place to create. And, I created it myself. And so now I have the opportunity to create that for so many young people. And hopefully it just like expands into not only like we're doing public art, and we're doing a whole bunch of learning. It's not just I'm teaching them my skill set, but we're bringing in speakers, and we're doing Indigenous learning and a whole bunch of stuff like that. So hopefully it expands into like performance, and like it just grows and grows and grows. So that is my vision. And
so beautiful. I love it.
It's great. It's sometimes things happen. Like, I would have never fit into a traditional teaching role, but when it comes to something that I just know so much about and have been doing, and that comes naturally, it honestly feels like I'm just playing with kids. Like, that's what it feels like. That's what your job should feel like while you're doing it, is that you're just playing and being yourself. And that's honestly what happened somehow. So, and my journey of getting there was through custom artwork. So you can't discount your path or your past or anything you've done, right?
Absolutely.
Because it led you to somewhere.
Absolutely. Or that idea of working with galleries, or all of those things. I mean, all of your past experience contributes to where you're going. None of it was wasted. None of it
Obviously, you see all the things connect, right?
Yeah.
You see everything connect, but in the moment, it does not feel that same way.
Like you're on the path sometimes. Yeah.
You're like, this is not fun.
I'm really excited to hear and see how it goes for you with your art academy. And I also want to hear more about the art fair, and if you go to New York or not.
Yeah, me too.
I
want to know what's going to happen in all those things. Only time will tell, I guess. Okay, well, we will wrap up, and thank you for being here. And we will, of course, chat afterward, because I'm letting my podcast run really long, because I love everyone I chat with, and it's so cool that I get to do it. And again, a podcast happened, didn't know where it was going to lead, and it led to somewhere absolutely extraordinary, and it's pretty cool. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to share in the community your income pie, because everyone's different. Everyone makes their practice and makes it sustainable and passive and all of that stuff in their own unique way. We just shared what works for us, right? And in my workbook, I have room where you can reflect and find ways to expand your practice. Because we don't want you to work so damn hard. I mean, I work my tail off. Yeah, I'm going to be honest about that. I work super duper hard, but that's kind of the season we're in with our children. And so it's just, I'm going to be tired for a little bit here. But, you know, I have things set up that are working really well, and I want to share those with you. So check out the workbook, and please share in your community what's working within our Color Me Happy community, which is free. It's on Facebook. The link's always in here to join. What's working for you? We want to hear it. We want to hear it. Our community wants to hear it. They need to hear it, because when we collaborate and when we work together, that is when we rise. That is when we can share our beautiful positivity with the world and our creativity. And I'm going to actually, I'm going to quote, I'm going to use one of my favorite quotes of Gertrude Stein. And she said, "The subject matter of art is life as it actually is. But the function of art is to make life better." We want to make our lives better. We want to make other people's lives better. And we can, because we have this beautiful creative gift. And that can look like so many things. And what does that look like to you? Share it, please. Alrighty, friends, enjoy this beautiful music by Swear by the Moon. And if you are in New York this week, please come to the Affordable Art Fair. I will be there with PXP Contemporary Gallery. I want to see your face. Alrighty, all the love, friends.
That's landing on your fake face. You can take it all from me. Am I the wallpaper that you hang when I'm out of style? I will tear you down, tear you down. I look suspicious, rip me open like a suitcase. You can take it all from destroy the evidence that I ever came this way, and I'll be back again. invisible. Is that all you want? Is that all you want? Is that all you want from me? Is that all you want? Is that all you want? You can take it all from me. You can take it all from me. You can take it all from me. Is that all you want? You can take it all from me. You can take it all from me. You can take it all from me. Is that all you want? 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 Is that all you want?
If you're looking for some time for yourself to relax, release, and unwind, Oasis has the perfect space for you. They offer yoga and spin classes of all levels. Whether you are a beginner or advanced student, Oasis thrives on accommodating all aspects of the practice. Let their serene environment and gracious staff help you in your journey of peace, healing, and strength. Sign up online at www.oasishotyogastudio.com or by downloading the Oasis Hot Yoga Studio app. Feel like yourself. You deserve it.